Deep in an enchanted forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the rivers sang lullabies, lived three tree princesses. They were daughters of the ancient oak, their long flowing hair interwoven with leaves and wildflowers. Each carried the grace of the forest, but only one, Ilara, had a heart as pure as spring water. The eldest, Silva, was proud and distant. She believed the forest should remain untouched, fearing the outside world's chaos. The second, Varea, was drawn to wealth, always dreaming of golden treasures buried beneath the roots. But Alara, she loved all who walked the land, tending to wounded animals and singing to the winds. One fateful evening, a young prince stumbled into their forest. His clothes were torn, his armor dented, and a deep wound bled across his shoulder. His kingdom had fallen into war, and he had barely escaped with his life. He called for help, his voice weak, his steps unsteady. Silva stood tall and turned away. "He does not belong here," she said. "He will bring ruin." Varea stepped closer, her eyes gleaming. "A prince?" she mused. "Surely he carries gold." She searched his pockets but found nothing of value. With a disappointed sigh, she, too, walked away. But Alara could not ignore his pain. She knelt beside him, pressing a soft, glowing leaf to his wound. "Rest," she whispered, her voice like rustling leaves. "The forest will heal you." Night fell, and under Alara's care, the prince slowly regained his strength. She brought him water from the purest springs, wrapped him in vines to keep him warm, and sang lullabies that wove through the trees. As the stars watched from above, the prince felt a peace he had never known. By morning, his strength had returned. He looked into Alara's deep green eyes and saw something rare. Kindness without condition. Taking her hands in his, he made a promise. "I will return," he vowed, "and when I do, I will take you to a kingdom where your kindness will bloom." Seasons passed. The forest thrived, and Alara often found herself thinking of the prince. Had he survived? Had his kingdom healed? Then, one day, the ground trembled with the sound of approaching hooves. The prince had returned, not as a wounded traveler, but as a victorious ruler. He rode with his knights, his kingdom restored, his heart unchanged. "Alara," he called, dismounting before her. "Come with me, not as a tree princess, but as the heart of my kingdom." Alara turned to her sisters. Silva nodded, though her face remained unreadable. Varea, seeing the prince's golden crown, finally understood that true riches lay not in gold, but in love. Alara took his hand. As she stepped from the forest, something magical happened. Her gown of woven leaves transformed into flowing silk, and her crown of flowers turned to gold. And so, she left the enchanted woods, not as a daughter of the forest, but as a queen. A queen whose kindness would shape a powerful kingdom for generations to come.